Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. Now, this is something that you might not know about me, mostly because I don't talk about it on the channel, but I'm what you'd call a somewhat of a casual / novice Jurassic Park fan. I've watched all the 6 theatrically released movies, and I've even watched the animated TV show Camp Cretaceous, which I've actually talked about quite a bit on my channel. However, I've never talked about the live-action Jurassic Park movies, and I figured, why the hell not? True, the franchise is kind of dead right now, they're not releasing any content, but again, why the hell not? So I figured just for the fun of it, I'm going to review each and every single theatrically released Jurassic Park movie, ranking them from worst to best, and I'll give you my thoughts on them. I just wanted to show you Camp Cretaceous, at least to give you something familiar to know. Now, of course, as said, I want to let you know that this video is purely for fun. As said, I'm not a die-hard Jurassic Park fan. I've not read the books or played the games or anything like that. So most of what I'm saying here is, again, just coming from someone who more or less is casually knowledgeable about the franchise. Which is why at number 6, we have Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I did not like this movie. I really did not. At first, when it came out, I was kind of defending it, being like, guys, come on, they're building up to something. But now that Dominion exists, I really don't think I can defend this movie on any fronts. This movie, I feel the best way to describe it is it's a lying waste of time. The movie lies to us saying, oh look, the human race has fallen. Their kingdom, get it? The human kingdom is about to fall and dinosaurs are going to take over again. We're going to see dinosaurs interacting with the normal world. How crazy is that going to be? And we just don't see it ever paid off. Like everything that this movie advertises never came true. Like yeah, dinosaurs do get to the real world or the main world at the tail end of the movie. The whole movie is spent either on Dinosaur Island or in some mansion where none of the action is happening. And of course, they even promise other characters like Ian Malcolm's coming back. And it's like, yeah, for one scene. What was the point of even having him in the trailers? There's a lot of dumb stuff in this movie. Of course, people have complained about Chris Pratt surviving lava from that close of a distance, but even then, that's not even what annoys me. What annoys me is that lava clearly falls on a dinosaur at one point in the movie, and the dinosaur just treats it like it got spilled on by hot water, not actual molten rock. Excuse me, what is happening? It's a very dumb movie and a very bad movie. It's a bad movie that just has everything all over the place. It kind of does not have a focus as to what it wants to do. And by the time it does regain focus by the end of the movie, it's just a little bit too late. This movie was supposed to like kind of bridge what Jurassic World 1 and Dominion, kind of explaining how dinosaurs get into the real world. But for me personally, we do not need an entire movie explaining how dinosaurs made it to the mainland. We've already seen like what, 2 other Jurassic World movies of dinosaurs rampaging. It's not hard to believe that dinosaurs could get to the mainland. Why did you need a whole movie explaining this? On top of that, because this movie decided it wanted to be a bridge instead of actually being an actual movie, it meant that the next 2 movies would actually have to show us dinosaurs interacting in the real world and how they would solve that problem. But because Dominion isn't a part 1, part 2 movie, it just feels like a waste of time. So yeah, Fallen Kingdom, everyone. I think everyone can agree that aside from Jurassic Park 3, that this is the worst Jurassic Park movie. It really offers nothing to the franchise. It's very confusing. And some of the stuff it decides to do is just absolutely wild. Again, the lava and dinosaur shtick is nonsensical. The clone stuff doesn't make any sense and it's boring. And again, dinosaurs making it to the mainland at the end of the movie is just, we waited 2 hours for basically nothing. And even Dominion suffers from this problem, but we'll get on that one in a second. Coming in at number 5, we have Jurassic Park 3. I'll tell you, this movie is remembered only for one thing and one thing only. Yeah, this movie is responsible for the Alan meme. Now, Jurassic Park 3, a lot like Fallen Kingdom, is very much a waste of time. The movie knows it's a B movie. It can't even live up to the heights of the other 2 movies that came before it, and it very much knows it and embraces that fact. And that's kind of what differentiates it from Fallen Kingdom, in my opinion. Fallen Kingdom is a waste of time that pretends it's important, whereas Jurassic Park 3 knows it's a waste of time that isn't worth your time. It's literally a movie to put on in the background and ignore. And I appreciate that. Not only is it the shortest of the Jurassic movies, but it also just kind of has the most nothing plot to it, but at the same time I also can't really bring myself to hate it. A lot of people despise this movie, but I will say there are some charming things about it. For one, I actually don't hate the human stories in this movie. For one, let me just get this out of the way. In every Jurassic Park movie, the human stories suck. Every time they focus on the humans, it sucks, and I cannot emphasize that enough. I don't think there's been a single good Jurassic Park movie where they focus on the human drama and it's good. Camp Cretaceous got really close, mainly because you're actually forced to actually kind of hang out with these characters and you actually want to see them live by the end of like the first season. But when it comes to the movie specifically, I don't feel like any characters are that compelling to follow. The first Jurassic Park is the closest I got to feeling, but I'll explain my feelings on that later. Jurassic Park 3, on the other hand, kind of knows that you really wouldn't care, and so it gives the humans very simple arcs to follow, and they are simple enough for you to at least engage with them. These parents are looking for their kids, simple as that. Alan doesn't want to get back on the island, but his business is failing, so he goes back on the island anyway. Simple as that. However, it also, again, does ruin a lot of arcs. Separating Alan and Ellie, in my opinion, just never made sense, and the fact that they never got together again until they're old just will always forever continue to baffle me. I always love how Hollywood keeps bringing back old heroes that we love, making them old and jaded and depressed after their big adventure, and I think that's what the audience wants. This was even a problem back in like, what, 2001 when this movie came out? But despite its problems, again, there are things I still like about Jurassic Park 3. It, for one, is the funniest of the movies, at least aside from the next one I'm going to talk about. But yeah, Jurassic Park 3 has a lot of funny moments in it. There's like this scene where the Spinosaurus has like the phone in its stomach, and for some reason they can hear the phone ringing, like it's loud enough to be heard through the dino. That was funny. There was also the pterosaur scene, which was supposed to be terrifying. I found it kind of funny. Wasn't there also a scene where the guy actually died, but then I don't know, there was like some weird deleted scene where the guy actually died, but now he got on the plane, so he never really died in the movie? I don't know. Again, Jurassic Park 3 has a lot of funny stuff in it. It's as much as the kills try to be hilarious or whatever, it's just really funny. It's so dumb, it's funny. We also have one scene where like the T-Rex and the Spinosaur fight each other. It's supposed to be this cool thing, but not only is the fight 30 seconds, but the Spinosaur just kills the T-Rex kind of unceremoniously, and it says, yeah, I'm the new big bad dino, because we really needed that. Again, Jurassic Park 3, very dumb movie, very much knows it's a waste of your time, and all in all, in the grand scheme of things, it's very harmless. You could go without watching this movie and you would still feel very satisfied. Just stick to the first or even the first two movies and you won't feel like you miss anything. Hell, people who watch Jurassic World don't even remember Jurassic Park 3 is a thing. So yeah, in my opinion, it's a very harmless waste of time movie. But at the very least, it knows it's a waste of time. It doesn't try to lie to you. And it's campy in its own right. So again, I do give credit where credit's due sometimes. Next up on the list, we have Jurassic World. So, this was supposed to be a soft reboot to the Jurassic movies. Basically, it was supposed to be like the Force Awakens for the Jurassic franchise. Bring fans in with something, new, but also old. Like, it gives them this nostalgia injection, but at the same time says, hey, this is Jurassic Park, we're back, look at us, dinosaurs and whatnot. And for a soft reboot, it's fine, but that's really all it is. It's fine. The movie is the definition of average. For everything it does well, it does poorly. Oh, look, it's basically a soft reboot of Jurassic Park, except bigger. Instead of being a small chunk of an island, it's on a bigger island. Wow! Actually, no, I retract that statement. They do confirm that Jurassic World is on the same island as Jurassic Park. So literally, they just expanded the park. The human drama in this movie is also boring as sin. You have the two main characters whose parents are going through a divorce, and I just could not care. Of course, you get Owen and Claire, who are now like the main characters of the trilogy, but it never felt like they were. It felt like they were just kind of, here we are as the main characters of this movie. By the time the next movie comes along, we'll get a new cast of characters. But nope, they're on for the next couple of movies, which, again, just never seemed like it was the plan to me. As I said, I never cared for the human elements of these movies, and at the very least with the Jurassic Park trilogy, they kind of switched out the casts every now and again. With the first movie, you got your original cast. With the second movie, we focused on Ian and his family, and then on the third movie, we focused on Alan and his buddies. So it felt like even though we have familiar characters, the overall cast was changing. With the Wild movies, we just kind of get stuck with the same two characters, at the very least for each movie, and it just never feels like it goes anywhere other than that. And then, of course, we get Maisie, who's introduced in the second movie, and gets put as also a main character for the third movie. And then the third movie is when everyone just comes together. Again, I don't really care for the human elements, and the fact that this movie basically is trying to force me to care for them, and then so that we can also, like the other two movies, just wasn't doing it for me. The effects in this movie are phenomenal, though. I just love how every dinosaur looks. The dinosaur attacks and deaths are pretty cool. And of course, everyone loves the the Indominus Rex versus T-Rex and Raptor fight at the end. I mean, that was iconic. Do I even need to mention like how good that fight was? And I do think the Indominus Rex as a sort of villain for this movie was very cool and creative. A dinosaur that is very smart and can camouflage itself. Again, very much Raptor and T-Rex just on steroids. I really thought that was a really cool idea. and it should have remained as one idea. I don't know why they thought we needed now a Velociraptor-sized Indorex for the sequel, and then for the third movie they just said, screw it, give us a Giganotosaurus, because yeah, a Spinosaurus wasn't big enough. I swear, what is it with them just thinking the bigger the dinosaur, the better the movie? That's not how it works, my dude. But yeah, for a soft reboot, it's really good. I do think that this was a really awesome way to bring people back into the Jurassic franchise. However, as a movie on its own, or basically as a Jurassic movie compared to the rest, it's very middle of the road. Coming in at number 3, we have Jurassic World Dominion. This movie is higher than the original Jurassic World, not because I like it, and it's not in the middle of the list because I think it's a genuinely good movie. It's because this movie is dumb. It is so freaking dumb. It comes back to being good. Like, this is one of those movies that's it's so bad, it's good. Nothing in this movie makes sense or like is coherent, yet it is fabulous because of it. You see, Fallen Kingdom was a bad movie because it promised you big things and then under-delivered. This movie promised you big things, and then instead he gave you a lot of little things and then said, hey, you like this, right? This is the big product. Let's get the obvious out of the way. This movie, much like Fallen Kingdom, lies to its audience again. This movie promises that we'll get, dinosaurs in the real world. Dinosaurs are wreaking havoc on human civilization. But we only get that in the first and last 5 minutes. There was even a whole short promoting this movie, like a whole short film. There's even a whole short film talking about how dinosaurs are like invading the human world. And that movie, that little film, that like 15-minute film, did a much better job than this entire movie did. In this movie, we're fighting locusts. And it's not even like dinosaur locusts, it's just prehistoric locusts. So, freaking locusts the size of dinner plates. That's what we're fighting. The main villain of this movie is freaking
Dodson! Dodson! We've got Dodson here! See, nobody cares.
Yeah, we're freaking fighting, and he looks like the CEO of Apple. Why are we fighting Apple's CEO in this movie? What is happening? And then, of course, we continue the clone storyline because it was just so interesting from Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, we all love that, don't we? And of course, because we're living in an age of nostalgia, they have to bring the OG cast from the OG trilogy back because yeah, that'll make this movie good. Totally. It will 100% do it. I will say, however, unlike most nostalgia bait properties, the OG cast do actually play a part in this movie. Like Ian, Alan, and Ellie, they all actually play a part in the plot of this movie, and they actually do help push it forward. Unlike something, or even No Way Home did this with like the returning Spiderman characters, unlike something like The Flash, which was just cameo central and they did nothing. So I will give credit where credit's due, but it's still bad. This series, this trilogy, unlike the Star Wars trilogy, like the Star Wars trilogy, it wasn't planned, but like unlike the Star Wars trilogy, they didn't try to make a mess of the past few movies. They at least embraced the absurdity of the other movies. But like, just because they embraced the absurdity doesn't mean it was good, and this movie is far from good. I just think it's a very dumb movie that, hey, at the very least it has dinosaurs in it. We don't focus on the human drama too much like in the other movies. At the very least there's a dinosaur in like every 5 minutes, so I'm not bored to death. But yeah, it's still not amazing, but I will say the effects were decent. Coming in at number 2, we have what I actually consider to be a good film, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, or The Lost World Jurassic Park, if that's what you're calling it. I don't know. I actually like this one. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool having T-Rexes be the main dinosaur of this movie. I know they kind of were for the first movie, but like, let's face it, the real antagonists were like the Velociraptors. So it was cool actually seeing T-Rexes be an actual threat in this movie. I even like that one scene where they rip the guy in two. Like, a lot of the kills in this movie are just brutal. Like, they rip the guy in two, they eat the guy who had the snake on him. Hell, we even had a scene where compies kill a guy. Freaking compies were actually terrifying in this film. I do think there were a lot of good scenes. However, there were also dumb scenes like... And the way the dinosaur got to San Francisco at the end was kind of dumb. However, I will say, as much as it is dumb how the dinosaur got to the mainland, I do think the mainland climax was really awesome. I know people like to clown on it, but again, I do think that's mostly due to the execution. And it's, again, why Fallen Kingdom annoys me so much, because Fallen Kingdom goes through so much trouble explaining how dinosaurs get to the mainland. Yet here, they explain how the dinosaur get to the mainland in like 5 minutes. We get from point A to point B. That's it. We don't need more complications as to how it got there. But yeah, once we're on the mainland, it's pretty cool. I like seeing the dinosaur dinosaurs just like wrecking buildings, eating people, drinking from pools, messing with dogs. It's all fun stuff. Like, this is the type of dino stuff I wanted to see Dominion do on a larger scale. But again, we just got it with a T-Rex. And I think that is perfectly fine for this movie. Having Ian Malcolm as main character was also cool. Him going through his family drama just wasn't engaging to me. I like Ian Malcolm, the character. I just don't think I liked him interacting with the other characters as much, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone agrees that this is the second best Jurassic movie. It's not a great movie or anything, but it is watchable, it is passable, and it is even suspenseful in some parts. I've even seen people say that they like the raptor scene, the raptor in the grass scene, because that was actually very tense filmed. So yeah, I do think that this movie tries its best to be a good movie, or at the very least a sequel to the original Jurassic Park. And while it doesn't really succeed, it does do the job well. Hell, I actually even like the fact that this movie takes place on a different island. So it's like really trying to distance itself from the first movie and be its own thing. And I do think it does succeed in being its own thing. So credit where credit's due. And of course, at number one, we have the movie that was just going to be untopped by anything. My dear audience, welcome. I mean, yeah, what else is there to say? This movie took the world by storm in 1993. It's what started a lot of kids on their dinosaur craze. I honestly believe that kids today, like any little boy or whoever that is obsessed with dinosaurs, has their roots sunk in Jurassic Park. If this movie did not exist, I'm pretty sure we'd still all be in like space fantasy thing. Like, we'd all little kids want to be space rangers or whatever, instead of like dino paleontologists or whatever. I do think the characters in this film are really interesting. I remember Nedry, I remember the freaking Dogson, as much as everyone likes to pretend that Dogson doesn't exist. I like John Hammond. He looks like such a fun, whimsical grandpa, but like, when you understand what it is he's really funding, or like what he really wants to bring to the real world, you're like, oh man, this guy is not saying no. I really like the philosophical discussions he and Ian have, where Ian even says his incredible line, your scientists were so focused on whether or not they didn't think about whether they should. Again, there's a lot of really good discussions in this movie.
The essence of chaos.
However, I still don't care about the human elements, which ties into what I said earlier. I really, really don't care about the humans in this movie. I like Alan's arc of learning what it means to be a father and him coming around to the idea of having kids, but I just don't really care for the interactions between him and the kids that much. I like the tense scenes where the dinosaurs are chasing them. I just do not care about digging into them. What I do care about, though, in this movie that I do think surpasses all the other films is the philosophical discussions, whether or not humans should play God, bring dinosaurs into the real world. That's the stuff I'm interested about. Digging into, is it okay to bring dinosaurs back, to give this species another chance at existence when they clearly do not mix in with our real world. Looking at that is what I care about Jurassic Park. That is what I love about Jurassic Park. Talking about the morality of man and how man's hubris can sometimes get too big, and seeing the consequences of said hubris. It's why I love the huge discussions in this film about whether or not it's okay to bring dinosaurs back, and why I wish, movies like Fallen Kingdom and Dominion had leaned in more to dinosaurs taking over the human world, because that is a result of human hubris. That is a result of hubris taking over, and now we are facing the consequences of that. If these movies actually gave us what they want, what I want, or what they promise with dinosaurs killing humans, and actually make it good, I would like this movie more. I would like this franchise more. I would be more invested in it. I would make more videos about it. But no, these filmmakers, these movie producers and guys in suits know exactly what they want, yet they keep hesitating to give it to us. I don't want to see people hiding behind corners to hide from raptors. We've seen that a million times. I want to have deep discussions about whether or not it's okay to nuke the dinos. I'm tired of billionaires stealing dino DNA to build their own park. That's boring. What I want to see is someone making a Triceratops farm to fight against, his neighbor's bulls. They have a bull off. Like, oh, me, I got bulls. Oh, I got Triceratops. Let's have some fighting. Like, there was this cool scene in Dominion where there's like this ring where dinosaurs fight. That's cool. Delve into that more. Delve into how dinosaurs can actually shape our modern world. Stop meandering and avoiding to give us what we want because you're too scared to make the leap. Sorry, I'm throwing tangents on the other movies, but Jurassic Park did lay the groundwork for those movies should be. This movie is so good simply because it laid the groundwork. It had those discussions. It had those philosophical things. It showed what dinosaurs can do in a park, and now it gives you the idea if they can do this much damage in a park, if the world can be turned this upside down in a little island, imagine how much crazier we could do if we took this full global scale. I do think that this movie laid the groundwork for what future movies could be, and I've heard the argument, oh, they should stop making movies after Jurassic Park 1, oh, there's no good stories you could tell after Jurassic Park 1. And while I do agree that the sequels suck, I don't think it's impossible to make a sequel to Jurassic Park. I do feel like there was something there. There is a deep idea in this movie that they could have developed on. They just were too afraid to take the plunge for whatever godforsaken reason. The effects in this movie are also just astounding. The other day I watched like a behind the scenes for the original Jurassic Park. Seeing how they had to like do the animatronics for the T-Rex and the Velociraptors is just crazy. Like Steven Spielberg is a master when it comes to animatronics, because I also know he did like struggle a lot when it came to Shark and Jaws, and seeing him struggle with Jurassic Park as well, and the CG is just amazing. True, the effects did not age well. That first Brachiosaurus we see, it's not good. I'm not gonna lie, it's not good. It's very horrendous. I can actually see the green screen, and that's bad because you know I have horrible taste when it comes to CGI. It does not take a lot to impress me, but my god, was that bad. But everything else looked great. The T-Rex, the Dilophosaur, everything in this movie actually looks amazing with the stuff they had at the time. This movie is, for all intents and purposes, revolutionary, and I understand why it's still being loved, referenced, and parodied to this day. This was truly genre defining at the time and the definition of a blockbuster film. I don't think we'll ever get a film like this, something that's using practical effects, taking risks, and having actual deep discussions while still being an action-packed movie about dinosaurs killing people. Like, maybe we'll get the occasional Star Wars movie or show, but I doubt it. This was just peak at the time, and I wholly understand why people consider this movie to be a masterpiece. And I can also understand why so many people fell in love with this franchise because of it. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts. So again, me not being a diehard Jurassic Park fan, I've watched all 6 of the movies, and I really feel like I can only say 2 of them are good. You know, that's about it. The other 4 are very much mediocre, brain dead waste of time. But I feel like since most Jurassic Park fans do agree with this sentiment, I probably won't get too much hate. But I do feel like aside from the OG Jurassic Park movie, my ranking might be a bit skewed. Like people might not agree with my ranking. But that's where you guys come in. Please tell me down in the comments, what do you think of my ranking? Do you think my opinions are justified? Do you think my thoughts on these films are good? Especially not being a diehard fan for this like I am, like with Marvel and Star Wars. So I'm kind of like in unfamiliar territory here. Or what's your thought process? Actually, what's your ranking of the Jurassic films? I'd very much like to know. Be sure to like this video if you liked, subscribe down below if you haven't already, hit the notification button to be part of the team, and again, leave a comment. I'd like to hear what you guys think on my thoughts on Jurassic films, or what your thoughts on the Jurassic films are. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments saying I'm wrong and that they really should have just stopped at the first movie, but hey, I'm open to discussion, so let's see how you do it. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. I've been Captain Phoenix, and with that, I will see you in another universe. Goodbye, my Rangers.